This was on the Sunday, the 14th of November, 1965. It was the first day of a major battle there called the Battle of Ia Drang, which was the first major battle of the Vietnam War. Our unit was pretty fresh. We had only been in country since September. It took us 30 days to go over by ship. We had an advance party there preparing for us, but the main body of probably 13,000 troopers went over by ship with all of our equipment. So we were pretty fresh, and I had great NCOs and tremendous soldiers. I had a full complement of sergeants in '65. My sergeants had 10 to 18 years of service. One of my sergeants that was a medic in Korea carried my aid bag because we were short medics, and I didn't have a medic attached to me at the time. But we were trying to get up to a platoon that got cut off, and we called it it's referred to as the Lost Platoon. There's a book out about the battle that General Moore wrote called We Were Soldiers Once and Young. And then they made a movie about, Mel Gibson made a movie about that book and about the battle called We Were Soldiers. But it was, like I said, the first day of the battle, and my platoon was attached to Bravo Company to try to get up to that platoon that was trapped on the side of a mountain. We didn't make it on that first attempt because the fire was too intense, and we decided to pull back and refit, get more ammunition, and try a second time. The second time we had artillery prepping our front, and we were still taking a lot of casualties, and we had two companies kind of on line heading up to that platoon that was about approximately 1,000 meters away on the side of a mountain called Chupong Mountain, close to the Cambodian border. We're about 5 kilometers from the Cambodian border. And I was pretty fresh, pretty new into this situation. I graduated from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh in June of '64 and went right into the Army and went through all my training, basic, advanced training, and then 6 months of OCS, then my Ranger school training, which was my best preparation to give me the confidence and the ability to lead it, because you're out there for 3 months in the mountains of North Georgia and at Fort Benning, and in the Everglades of Florida, which is similar terrain to Vietnam, learning. You're out patrolling every day with small unit patrols. So that was really my best preparation for Vietnam. And it's a tremendous, very tough, demanding school. But I was a platoon leader under Captain Nadal in A Company. That second time we went up with 2 companies on line. And as we were moving forward, we were taking, everybody has their own firefight in their own specific area, and there was bad guys, and some guys would be moving ahead on our flank. We tried to keep uniformity there and move together, but sometimes there's less contact on the one side, and they can move forward quicker than we can. When you think of Wes's situation, our situation wasn't kind. You think of Vietnam, you think of you're hacking your way through the jungles. Our area was pretty open. We had there were trees and elephant grass. It was the type of terrain. It wasn't thick jungle, so you could see the bad guys when they were standing up above the elephant grass. If they were walking, most of the time they were crouching or crawling like we were too. But it was still pretty open. And straight ahead of me, about 50 yards, was a large, hard, solidified rock. They call them an anthill. It's about 6 foot high, and there was trees and shrubbery around it. It was a very good position. There were bad guys around it and on top of it and probably up in the trees. right to my front. And in the heat of battle, there's a lot of battle noise. I tried to get one of my soldiers to shoot a light anti-tank weapon. It was an M72 rocket launcher called a LAW. Light anti-tank weapon is the real name for it. It was a one-shot disposable bazooka. It was about this big, and you would pull it out and put it on your shoulder and aim it and fire it. The soldier tried it and it misfired because of all the humidity. We had some problems with some of our weapons and equipment because of all the humidity and the rain. So I was pretty close to him, and I took it from him and I rearmed it, which is what you do is you close it up and you open up again and you shoot it. This time it fired, and it made a big boom and a big cloud of dust, and I thought I destroyed the anthill, but I didn't. It was too hard and too thick. It's a very powerful weapon, and it has a shape charge, and it can penetrate armor, but it didn't make it all the way through that. I'm sure I might have done some damage with it, but I didn't completely destroy that anthill. So we started moving forward again, trying to get up to that platoon, and again we were stopped, and I told one of my men with using sign language to throw a grenade and to go up there and to throw it over the top of the anthill. And he thought I meant to throw it from where we were at, and he did, but it landed short because of all the trees and the foliage. It didn't make it behind it. So rather than waste any more time, I told my men on both sides to stop to kind of hold their fire, and I just didn't want to get shot by my own men. And I ran forward about 30 meters to the anthill and threw the grenade over the top. And when it went off, I went around to the side and silenced a few more of the enemy that were trying to shoot me. And when that happened, after I had silenced the machine gun, I turned to my side and I told my men to come on, let's get going. We had to get to that platoon, and that's when I got shot in the jaw. It went in here and come out over here. At first, kind of ruined my day. I've never been wounded or hurt real bad in high school or college sports or anything, and that the pain and I had to feel my mouth to make sure I still had a jaw there anyway. But my medic was first up, and then another of my soldier came up to patch me up. I was kind of a walking wounded. I was able to get back. A couple of my soldiers carried me back to the battalion command position where all the wounded were being held. They continued the assault, but they didn't make it up there. There was too many bad guys out there, and so they pulled back to a defensive perimeter that night. And that platoon held out 3 determined NVA attacks that was on the side of the hill there of Chupong Mountain. It was led by a buck sergeant named Ernie Savage. His platoon leader was an OCS classmate of mine, was killed, and 2 of his sergeants were also killed very quickly in that battle. And this buck sergeant, once he took over, he was the mortar squad leader, so he could call in artillery and mortar fire, and he did that. And they put a rain of steel around their positions, and they never lost another man killed or wounded throughout that night, and were able to defend their positions through 3 determined attacks that night. And we were able to get up to them the next day and get them out of there. The medic was very instrumental too in keeping the guys alive, and was very courageous, and was awarded for his assistance, was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross along with Sergeant Savage, the leader of that lost platoon. But I made it back to the action happened around 5 o'clock, so it was starting to get dark by the time I got back there, and was evacuated by one of the helicopters that was bringing in ammunition and water. Backhauled us to a Pleiku where we were treated.